After a week, it's finally time to talk about the finals. I've had so much fun with this game. I've put about 15 hours into it, played roughly 50 games across PC and PS5, and I'm having so much fun. So if you've been living under a rock, the finals is a multiplayer shooter where you play as a team of 3 against either 2 or 3 other teams depending on what game mode you're playing. It has fully destructible environments, it has 3 different classes that all have different abilities and different roles, and overall, it's simply a fun game, especially from a casual perspective. Now, I am concerned about its competitive viability, which I will talk about later on in the video, but I just want to talk about just how I've sort of fallen out of love with multiplayer shooters as of the past, say, 5 or 6 years. So since about 2015-16, I've been really into competitive online games. I've played a lot of Rocket League, I've played a lot of Overwatch 1 and 2, and then I played a fair bit of Blackout and a small bit of Apex. But the problem is that the multiplayer shooter genre had moved towards battle royales, and after playing a lot of PUBG and some other battle royales, I eventually just sort of got fed up with battle royales because yes, they are fun, but there's a lot of downtime in them, and some play sessions, you know, they just kind of feel unrewarding. Like, say, after like one day on a weekend, you get all your friends on, and you get maybe an hour or 2 together, and you play 4 matches, and you only had one good match, and the other matches were you walking around for 10 or 15 minutes looking for loot, and then getting into your first fight and dying. And yes, I know you can say, oh, well, just get good at the game, which I guess is a fair argument, but sometimes you just want something that is fun, that won't waste your time, that is constantly engaging, and that's what the finals is. So the second you spawn into a game, regardless of what game mode you're playing, there are 2 game modes, and I will talk about them in a bit. The objective is straight up on the map, there are respawns, and the game is frantic. The light guy can run around like a headless chicken with grappling hooks, with cloaking devices, and he can just sprint around with reckless abandon using shotguns, SMGs, and just wreak havoc and annoy the player. It's almost like the light is kind of a bit, you know, a bit tracery if you've played Overwatch, where your kind of job is to just annoy people, tickle them, run in, take some aggro, run out, you know, that sort of game style. And then the medium guy, which is my favorite, is sort of a mixture. He can deal good damage, he has decent range, and then also you can heal, you can put down turrets, you have a defib that you can revive your mates with, which is, I'm always a support player, so that's who I play. And then the heavy, which has the most potential to be fun. Basically, their whole job is to destroy buildings. You have a charge that you can just run through buildings. You have sledgehammers that can break down walls. You have RPGs that can blow holes in everything. One thing that I absolutely adore about this game, and I know some people mightn't like this, especially when it comes to competitive sort of play, because there is a bit of, not randomness to it, but there's a lot of unpredictability to this game because the whole environment is destructible. I'm pretty sure this was made by some ex-Battlefield developers, and you can see it. The destruction is super impressive, but it also means that, like, when you are defending an objective, you could be all sitting in a room, 3 of you, and defending the objective and thinking, oh, we're safe here. There's like a door they can come through. Maybe they can break through the wall. They can, but they can also blow up the ceiling, or what they can do, they can blow up the floor where the objective is to drop it down into the next room, which then sort of gives them the advantage because then you have to drop into them. Some people will not like that from a competitive standpoint, but I honestly adore it. It's just, this game is just chaos. It's chaos, and it's so much fun. So there are 2 game modes in this game, and the first one that I played the most of is there are 3 teams of 3 fighting over a cache of money that they need to deposit in a bank, and then you have to capture that bank to like reclaim it. So basically it's an objective that has a timer on it, and you can steal it at any point, and then you have to defend it, and then the team that has it when the timer runs out wins the money, and the first to 20,000 cash wins, and each cash is 10,000. So you have to capture 2 of them. This game mode, while is so much fun, but I think there's a couple of issues with it. So first of all, when you spawn in, there is money that you need to go capture and then put into a bank. But there's no incentive to actually capture this money. And this is where I think later down the line, when it becomes a competitive game, it might struggle. Because the first section of this game mode, you don't need to do anything. You could literally stay where you spawned and let the other team grab the money, deposit it in the bank, let the other 2 teams fight it out, and then when the other 2 teams are low, just run in, third party them, take out both teams, and when you wipe out squads, their respawn timer resets, so you're like incentivized to wipe out a squad, which makes sense. But like, there's no incentive to actually engage in the first part of this game mode, because if you just third party them, wipe out the team, then you get a free capture, and then it takes them like 20 seconds to spawn, and then at that stage they might have one more push to be able to fight. So I think they need to do something to like incentivize you collecting the money and actually depositing it, because right now, unless I'm missing something, I can't see any incentive to actually engage in the start. Now, the one thing that's sort of keeping it engaging is that the game itself is just so much fun. That like running around and killing people and blowing up buildings, like there's just a fun factor to that I want to engage in it. But I think if I was to get into this competitively and I wanted to climb the ranks, there's no reason to even push. You're just better off waiting. So I think something needs to change there. And then when it sort of comes to more of the competitive stuff, since there's no, like this game has been out a week, there's no established meta. When you look at certain games, you're coming up against like teams of 3 heavies. All 3 of them have flamethrowers or like explosive noob tubes, and you're like what can I do here? Because you're just getting like literally you're attacking the objective in a room, and there's 3 heavies that have a lot of health, like they take a lot of bullets, and there's 3 of them with flamethrowers just burn you down. I was like, what can I do against that? And then there's also another sort of meta with the light guy where he uses invisibility and a double barrel shotgun. And if you come up against a team of even 2 light guys that have double barrel shotguns that are in some way, anyway, accurate, you just can't do anything about it, because them double barrel shotguns are like ridiculous. Now, obviously, the game is now in people's hands. There will be balancing patches. And I do hope, I really, really hope that there are certain things that are balanced out. Now, later down the line, see, this is the problem with reviewing these games early. It's like, I can sit here and say confidently, as a casual experience, if you are looking for a game that you can play with your friends at Christmas and just have an absolute feck ton of fun, this game is brilliant. I have not had fun like this in a multiplayer shooter in years. Like, I'm playing with my friends and we're sitting there, we're screaming, oh, he's on me, oh, run, oh no, have a light guy after me, oh, I'm on fire. And you're like, revive me, heal me. And you're like, wow, this game is so much fun, and it genuinely is. And this is why I wanted to be properly balanced, or at least maybe later down the line when a meta is discovered, we can almost counteract these things, because I want this game to survive. I want this game to have a future in competitive where I can go in and I can learn the ropes and I can go up the ranks like I've done with Overwatch, like I've done with Rocket League, because there's just something so fun about climbing ranks, especially in a game that is just fun to play. I'm going to be honest here. I don't think Overwatch is a fun casual experience. I really don't. And I don't understand how anybody could have fun playing Overwatch casually, because the game just is not catered towards casual play. But a game like Rocket League is so fun to play casually. Like, that game was a party game first, and then we realized, oh shit, this game is one of the most mechanically deep multiplayer games ever made, and I dare say probably the most mechanically deep multiplayer game ever. I'd love to know what you think about that in the comments, because I would probably die on that hill, because the mechanics in that game are insane. And here I can already see there are mechanics. I can see that there is a way to sort of like bunny hop after or jump to increase your momentum. And this game, from a casual experience, is so fun, and I'm hoping they can take that into the competitive experience. Now, I didn't really talk about the second game mode. The second game mode is even more bonkers. So basically, the second game mode, when you kill somebody, they drop money. They drop $1,000 or whatever the currency is. And then there's also caches of money around that you can capture, and then they drop coins on the ground that you pick up, and then you have to deposit it. The only thing is, there's 4 teams. 4 teams of 3 running around the map, and it's just absolutely bonkers, because it's so much faster than the first one. There's no real waiting around and camping and holding a spot. It's like, you get the money, shit, I need to run, and then you're just like sprinting away like a madman trying to deposit the money. And again, it just captures that frantic fun that this game has. And yeah, a lot of people are talking about this game. It's so much fun, and I really, really hope, I seriously hope that down the line we can figure out how to counteract these sort of things, like the flamethrowers, or 3 noob tubes, or a heavy shotgunner that can absolutely upend you, or the light shotgunner that literally kills you in 1.5 shots, or like a shot and a melee, and you're like, I don't know how to fight against that. So yeah, I'd love to know what you think about the finals, because this is obviously quite a bit more of a rambly review. You'll notice I've actually fixed my camera. I can see how clear I am on the camera. It's finally fixed. I don't look like a feckin' smudge on the screen. But yes, this game I plan on playing absolutely loads over the Christmas break, and I'm hoping in a month or so, I'll be able to do another review where I can sit down and say, you know, they brought out a balancing patch. This gun is actually good. This gun is good, because there are certain guns. So for the medium class, which is the guy I played a lot, the AK is a really good gun. It's not like amazing at range. You can still deal good damage, but it has 36 bullets in a mag, which is plenty. But then they have the FCAR, which is the SCAR, that is slightly more accurate. It has a holographic sight, but it only has, and wait for this. Excuse me, I need the burp. Lol. It only has 20 bullets in a mag, and you have to basically hit every single shot to get a kill. So like certain things like that need to be balanced. That SCAR needs to be a better weapon, so that it's actually viable, because it deals the same damage as an AK, but it has 16 less bullets in a mag, and it's very slightly more accurate. And then, as I said, with the flamethrowers and the noob tubes, like, something needs to be done. But yes, if you are looking for a casual game to play with your friends, just download this game. It's free to play. One thing I will say, it's very generic. The characters are generic. People are saying that the commentators are AI voices, which very well might be the case. And then the art, it's like clean. It has a clean aesthetic, kind of like Mirror's Edge. But there's just something very generic about this game. But I don't really think that changes anything. Because you can have games that have all these colourful characters, like Rocket Arena, or what was that other game? Knockout City, that was kind of colourful. And the characters might have personality, a bit like Overwatch, because I do think that's one of Overwatch's strongest points, is that the characters are just super interesting and designed very well. But if the gameplay loop is fun, does it really matter? It would only enhance the experience. But because the gameplay loop is that much fun, I don't really care. This game is fantastic. And I can't wait to do a review in a month or 2 months to see if this is competitively viable. Because I want it to be. I want to climb the ranks in this game. So thank you very much for watching. I'll have an Arkham Knight review out next week. I'll have my tier list out sometime before Christmas. And then that'll be me for the rest of the year. And I'll come back with rejuvenated life. Because I made a lot of videos this year and I'm starting to feel it. I'm starting to feel burnt out. So I'm going to take a week or 2 off when all these videos are done. I'm going to come back. I'm going to review loads of games next year. So I really appreciate you watching. My camera is nice. I actually look okay. So thank you very much. See you all in the next video. Goodbye.